Hello, everybody. Mitch, why is my screen all furry?
I don't know. Oh, there you go.
There I am. Can you let me know when we've got quorum? I know I'm a few minutes early, so
Yeah, that's okay. I will let you know.
hopefully we'll start on time, but. And then Roger, I saw that you were willing to do the land acknowledgement if Dave Mayo Kiley was not available.
Yes, yes. I might need a copy of something though, or
I emailed that to you just a minute ago, Roger.
thank you, sir.
Yep.
So
Say
this is
Susie.
Dave Kuiper. I was actually asked to do it several
Oh.
weeks.
Okay.
Oh,
So
Thank
Oh,
you.
so Dave
I think-
Kuiper was supposed to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, I might have gotten my Daves mixed up.
Oh.
common mistake.
Awesome.
I'm better looking than Dave Mayo Kiley.
I'll tell him you said that.
That's right.
Okay.
Susie, I was going to say, this is Emily. You are very on top of the emails and the communication coming through, because I was tracking that as well with regard to the land acknowledgement. So I appreciate you staying on top of that.
Sure. And Mitch, you have Holly's presentation, her PowerPoint, yeah?
Yeah, I worked it into the current one that you're seeing now.
Excellent, okay. Good job.
Hmm.
It is 4:01, but we're gonna give it like 2 more minutes to see if we get more members on, because we only have, what, 7 or 8 folks here. Oh, we got a couple more. And Dave Mayo Kiley, actually, it was supposed to be Dave Kuiper that was had agreed to do the land acknowledgement, so he's gonna do that for us if you're cool.
Perfect. He'll do a better job than I would anyway.
Well, Mitch, it looks like we've got quorum, yeah?
Yes, we do.
Excellent work. Welcome, everybody. I'm Susie Pearson, the Executive Director for Awake, and also the co-chair, vice chair for HPRS Advisory Council. And I am here to welcome you to today's meeting of the Advisory Council. And we will be moving forward through our agenda today. Our first up is going to be Dave Kuiper reading us our land acknowledgement, please.
Thank you, Susie. We, the Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness and the HPRS Advisory Council, are guests living in the ancestral lands of the Cook Inlet Dena'ina people, and we wish to honor their ancient relationship with the land and water in this beautiful region. It's important to recognize our Indigenous hosts because they are still here. The land is a witness that they have lived here for millennia. The land remembers them.
Thank you so very much, Dave. Our next on our agenda is our mission moment, which is going to be presented by Holly Morales from CITC.
Good afternoon, everybody. Like Susie said, my name is Holly Morales. I'm the Deputy Operating Officer at Cook Inlet Tribal Council, and was asked to provide the mission moment. And so I have actually just one slide to share with you to keep within the timeline. I apologize if I sound a little stuffy. I'm trying to get over a cold. But next slide. So for our mission moment, we wanted to share the work that we're doing at Cook Inlet Tribal Council. We're a nonprofit, tribal nonprofit serving all of Cook Inlet region, but we're mostly located here in the municipality of Anchorage. What are...
Sorry.
No worries. So what we looked at for fiscal year 24 is our board of directors wanted us to look more at what we can do as an organization, or mostly to see what our role is as part of helping participants that we serve with homelessness. And so one of the first things that we did this year was to hire a new team to focus specifically on housing services for CITC in general. So we did hire a housing services manager. Her name is Amanda Joseph. She's in the picture right there on the right-hand side. We're also hiring a housing services coordinator. We just hired somebody and they just started this week. So we'll be training them up. And our housing team is to develop a stronger partnership within the community and build relationships with other organizations like some of you guys are part of, in order to help participants in the municipality of Anchorage. We know that we can't be the answer to solve homelessness, but we also know that we need to build stronger relationships within the community in order to help ensure that we're providing those services to our participants. And so we really want to focus in on supporting individuals that are experiencing homelessness. And some of those ways, we've started to do outreach at the pop-up events and providing supplies and outreach. We've also implemented an integrated case management team within our navigation team, which is, the navigation is really the start of receiving services at CITC if you show up at our building. Before, people would just come and have to go to different departments and kind of maneuver services on their own. But with this new team, which also houses the homeless services team, they're able to meet participants where they are and connect them to services across the organization at first contact. So a lot of people, as most of you know, come in and they don't know where to start. So our navigation team is really there to help maneuver those services at Cook Inlet Tribal Council, as well as immediately connecting them to our housing services team up front if they're experiencing homelessness. We also just recently participated in the homeless count. They're starting to try to be more visible in the community at different meetings and convenings. As you can see there, we were at a pop-up event. We were able to bring our president, our chief operating officer, and our housing services with us so that they can better learn how to support our team as we work in the community. We know that we have a long way to go, and this was really our first step in saying we have all these services across Cook Inlet Tribal Council, and really what this team is going to help us to do is to make sure that we're all communicating better and have a more unified approach to serving participants that are dealing with homelessness. Thank you for letting us share.
Thank you so much, Holly. Really appreciate you sharing what CITC is doing. You are such a strong presence as a resource in our community, and we greatly appreciate all the work that you do. And right now, we're looking for approval for the consent agenda. This includes the meeting agenda for today, as well as the February meeting minutes and approval. I am looking for a motion to approve.
I will motion to approve, Grace.
Thank you, Grace.
Roger, I'll second.
Thank you, Roger. Is there anybody who is opposed? Not seeing anybody?
Robin.
Approve.
Here, because I'm getting the impression just from
Charles?
talking.
Yeah, I approve the motion
Okay,
or the vote if it's a vote. I'm sorry. I got a little distracted.
that's okay. I'm hearing somebody on the line and
Which is
okay, sorry about that, folks. Thank you so very much for approving the consent agenda for today's meeting. Up next, we have the Advisory Council Chair Report. And Allison is not here today, but the main thing that I wanted to take a few minutes on is we have a retreat planned for April 26th. Is that right, Mitch?
That is correct.
Okay, and we are currently working on a place and trying to determine the time and what the event is going to look like. So I wanted to get a little bit of feedback to take just a couple minutes for what folks are looking for from the Advisory Council as a whole for a retreat. What do you want to cover and what interests you as far as a group for discussion? Oh, go ahead, Roger. I saw your hand.
Sure, I just wanted to fill in for the folks that we're looking at a meeting time sometime between 9 and 3 on Friday the 26th, so that's kind of the time schedule we're looking at. Okay, thank you.
And this is Dave. And I guess for me, the one thing is just trying to kind of hear from ACH and the community as well, as far as what kind of the role of the advisory council is at this point in time. I know there's been some changes. ACH has grown quite a bit. I know that when we were formed, we were there to, provide advice. And if that's still the same, that's great. But I would just like some clarification on the role of the advisory council at this point.
And I saw in the chat from Julia, understanding our roles, responsibilities, power, and strategic planning. Anybody else?
I know one of my goals, I understand we're to review our governance charter annually and make updates. And so I'd love it if we could all have some pre-homework and just read that over. And then I would be willing to throw myself out there as somebody to lead that review process and updating process.
In preparation for this retreat, we probably will be sending out some documents such as the charter for you to do at least a week or so before the meeting to give you a chance to review that so that we can all be prepared for that conversation, because those are important documents that all of us need to be apprised of. And it does definitely help us to better understand our roles and responsibilities. Yes, Julia.
Sorry, I didn't come off mute earlier because it was noisy over here. I also wanted to add in that when we were talking about structure for this retreat, there had been some discussion of ACEH staff coming in to inform us, but also a lot of this space being advisory council members getting to know one another because we haven't spent a lot of space and time in actual proximity to one another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hey, Susie, this is Robin. And I think too, maybe this is covered a little bit in this, but just, I think a deeper understanding of the committees and what we're really looking to get out of those committee spaces.
Okay. That's great. All right. Well, those are some good ideas. And what I will do is ask all of you to think about that, and you can email either myself, Allison, or Mitch and Emily are our data gatherers at is it the email address info HPRS, correct?
Info at hprsadvisorycouncil.org, and I'm going to throw it in the chat.
Okay. So if you have any other thoughts or anything, that would be great to share. I'd really appreciate it very much. And up next, we have committee updates. So we'll start with Roger, because I know that you all had a meeting.
Sure, so, can you, yeah, you can hear me. The Compliance Committee had its first meeting last week, and since reforming, there were a couple of folks on the prior one that I have not yet touched base with, seeing if they want to continue being on. Of course, they're free to audit and attend or not at their own discretion. But Robin and Chuck were both on before, and I'll be reaching out to both you folks, or you can let me know. We're just kind of, feeling ourselves out in the community out, and seeing, which way we want to go in this time and season of what makes sense. And so, did you want to add anything to that, Grace, or?
I think you said it perfectly well. We're getting our feet under us. We're gonna take a look at the charter, and then kind of assess a strategic direction.
So by the time of the retreat, we hope to have, some kind of a penciled charter to kind of discuss with everybody and make sure that we fit in with what everybody, all the other committees and the groups doing. And we will continue meeting on the third Monday at 3 o'clock. And I hope I got that correct. And everything's going fine. Thank you.
And I did not introduce, Roger is our chair for the Compliance Committee. So, and we are working on getting all the committee membership beefed up. So make sure that you are, we'll keep you posted on all of the committee times and what's happening with them. Sharon is our chair for our data committee. Sharon?
Yes, hello. All right, so the data committee met last week. It was our very first face-to-face meeting ever. And so that was exciting, and it was a hybrid meeting. So I'd like to thank whoever from the coalition was there in the office. I don't recall his name, but he let us in on a Wednesday. So we used the nice meeting room there. Yeah, so we got a big task assigned to us, or well, we were asked to take on, I should say. It's to look at the metrics for the anchored home plan, sort of define them, and then kind of come up with, what an acceptable change would be. Like, how would we know we were successful, and what is the percent change or whatever. So that's something we're going to be going to continue to work on. Next month and then the following months. That's the main thing we did.
Great. Thanks so much, Sharon. And up next, we have Julia with the coordinated entry.
Thanks, Susie. I've got my cheat sheet in front of me. Hi, everybody. Julia, they, them. I'm the chair of the Coordinated Entry Committee, and I represent myself, not an agency. We meet the first Friday of the month at 11:30 a.m. Currently, it is only a Zoom meeting, though if we can move to hybrid space, we may. We do have a lot of providers that join the Coordinated Entry meeting, so we'll be sure to continue to have Zoom space as well. This month, on March 1st, we met and we discussed a brief update from the Prevention and Diversion Subcommittee, who's going to be coming before the Coordinated Entry Committee at the beginning of next month to discuss what our next steps are and whether or not we should be bringing something in front of the Advisory Council. We also talked about the perceived efficacy of the vulnerability tool that we put into place that you all voted on in the fall for referrals. We're going to have some reports that will be standing reports from the Coordinated Entry Director during each meeting. That's referrals, declines, why they were declined, where the information is coming from, like which access points are currently engaged, and anything else that seems pertinent around case conferencing meetings. Other than that, we hope you'll join us for those Coordinated Entry meetings. And as a personal plug, sharing your pronouns in this meeting is a simple yet impactful way to promote inclusion, and it has a bigger impact than you might think. So thanks to Mitch for doing that reminder for folks. And those of you who don't have them in your name, it would be great if you would put them in there. Thanks so much.
I really appreciate that reminder, Julia. Thank you. So Susie Pearson, she, her. And if you need to know how to change your name, you can just go over to your name and there's 3 little dots and it allows you to rename and add your pronouns. Okay, so we also, our 4th committee is the Community Prioritization Committee. We no longer have a chair for that committee, so we'll be pulling that together over the next month and gathering a meeting and then trying to appoint a chair to that committee once we have that group of people together. So, and we do have all of your interests for committees, so don't think that we're ignoring you. We're definitely going to be pulling people in from that. So community prioritization, folks, we will be coming to you. Please don't think that we've forgotten your interest. Up next, we have, I believe Jessica is going to be giving us any updates and then also be going into the special presentation of Anchored Home.
All right, thank you, Susie, so much. Just to run through some quick government updates and operational updates. At the local level, there is not a lot moving through right now. The municipality is preparing for their first quarter budget revisions. So that budget work is happening at the assembly level right now. And I would anticipate that over the next month or so to see those revisions come through. There's also an election underway. So if you have not already sent in your mail-in ballot, you should send that in and exercise your right to vote. At the state level, there's a couple bills that ACH is following. I've talked about them in previous updates as well. There is a House bill sponsored by Representative Josephson, which is proposing changes to the Landlord-Tenant Act, which would change the period of time required for landlords to notify tenants of changes in rent amounts from 30 days up to 90 days. And there's some guidelines and exceptions written in there, but that is something that is making its way through and ACH has supported as an agency. There's also the amendments and expansions of the 1115 waivers for Medicaid services, which would expand the ability for those waiver payments to pay for some housing related services, which is also something we're following really closely and support. Last, I would share there's a bill that was introduced last year, which is still in committee, that was introduced by Senator Dunbar that would allow communities that have a property tax base to be able to implement a blight tax. So if there's properties that are nuisance properties or rundown, really causing blight in a neighborhood, it gives that municipality the power to implement another form of tax that would hopefully incentivize those property owners to either fix up the property or sell the property to someone who will fix it up. And hopefully that will activate some of these housing opportunities that right now are really just sitting boarded up. They're not related to bills, but there is also an amendment being proposed in House Finance that would allocate $4 million to the municipality of Anchorage, and that would be used to help support the shelter facility on 56th Avenue, which is currently being operated as an emergency cold weather shelter, and it would allow that facility to stay open over the summer. So that's an amendment that I have not yet finished listening to the House Finance Committee meeting that happened this morning. So I am not sure if that amendment passed or not, or if it was even debated. But that is an amendment that is out there as well that would bring that funding here to Anchorage to support that shelter. Operational updates last month at the end of the month. I hope everyone had an opportunity to attend our coordinated entry conference that we held. If you did not attend and are interested in the materials from that conference, on our website, we have a conference page that has all of the materials from all of the different presentations. It was really well attended. We did offer it in a hybrid format. So we were able to have people in person down at the Nave as well as online attending virtually. And we followed that up with a one-day training on motivational interviewing for coordinated entry access points. So that was also really well attended and really brought a good, valuable skill set to people who are performing those coordinated entry assessments as an access point or within their programs to be able to really hone in on how you can have these conversations with people and get the answers to those questions in a way that isn't just reading them off, and really bringing a personal touch into those conversations. All right. I went fairly quickly through that. I wanted to make sure we have plenty of time to talk through Anchored Home and have time for questions. But if anyone has any questions for me, you can always reach out by email or you can ask them right now. Looking to see. I don't see any hands up, so. All right. Well then, Mitch, should I just launch right into Anchored Home?
Yeah, if you've got your presentation, you should be able to pull it on up and go from there.
Let's see.
Jessica, as part of your presentation, is there who's the echo? Am I echoing to all of you? No? Okay. So Jessica, as part of that, if you could give us a brief introduction as far as what Anchored Home is in relation to HPRS and the advisory.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. Hopefully I am sharing now. So quick update or quick introduction to Anchored Home. So Anchored Home is our community's strategic plan on ending homelessness.
Jessica?
So, yep.
I'm sorry, you've got your, at least I'm seeing the I guess it's the presenter view. It's got all of your controls and everything. It's
okay,
not that big of a deal, but
no, you guys probably want to see the actual presentation. How's that?
There it is.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so the last Anchored Home, which was the first Anchored Home, was put into place 2018. And in my slideshow, I do have a little bit of history around what that plan is and how it comes to fruition. So this year, or this version of Anchored Home 2.0, second Anchored Home, current Anchored Home, we started off with a series of community engagement events. So we held 2 sessions early last year that were bringing providers together to talk about some of the goals that were in the original Anchored Home, how the community felt about those goals as goals that should continue for the community, and ideas for new goals to put into place. We then followed that up with 3 different opportunities to have conversations with people with lived experience. So going to shelters, going out into the community and having conversations with people who are having those daily interactions with the homeless prevention and response system on what they felt about ongoing goals or actions or metrics that could go into the community's plan. And then last, we held a community session over at the BP Center, where we were able to have that conversation with the community about what those goals were looking like, what those metrics were, and opened up a survey to the entire community. We then took all of that information, so all of the survey responses from the community, from people with lived experience, all of the feedback from the multiple listening sessions and conversations that we held, and then extrapolated all of that down into what we are about to present. And everyone should have gotten the entire document in your email. My PowerPoint is really going to go over some of the highlights of the plan, and then I'll have an opportunity for people to ask questions. All right, so I am going to start. Perhaps. Okay, so Anchored Home is an action-oriented guide to solving homelessness here in Anchorage. So one of the big things about this plan is laying out concrete steps and measurements so we can gauge our progress and also provide that accountability back to the community. So we're hoping to improve the use of data, expanding opportunities for people who are experiencing homelessness, and be able to braid those funding streams together for individualized housing and supports. So with this plan, the community will see a more comprehensive enrollment of people experiencing homelessness into a shared database, HMIS, and ensure that those with the greatest needs are given the highest priority. So not just for housing, but for the right supportive housing. We have 7 target areas in Anchored Home. We're looking at housing, supportive housing, those supportive services that are offered sometimes with housing, sometimes without, data, coordination, equity, and funding. So first and foremost, homelessness is a housing crisis. People fall into homelessness because they cannot find housing that they can afford. So not only does that housing provide people with a platform for a better life, but it's also better economically. So in Anchorage, we know that housing someone with those supportive services is less expensive than providing shelter. So ultimately, homelessness is the result of not enough housing. We also know that homelessness and healthcare are connected. So disabilities, medical issues, those can all lead to job losses and increased risk of homelessness. And then, as we all know, health issues worsen for people who are unhoused. So looking back to 2018 and the initial launch of Anchored Home. So going back before the launch, as many communities were experiencing, our efforts to address homelessness were frustrated, they were fragmented, siloed, and had a disconnected approach. Our data was ad hoc and minimal, and access to those services was random. It was first come, first serve. There was no real cohesive method for how people were accessing those services. So with that, the community came together and had this vision of Anchored Home. So Anchored Home 1.0 was from the period of 2018 to 2021. So since then, we've seen our data collection vastly improved. Our community created a unified coordinated entry system so that we could do quick assessments, identify housing needs, and match people to the most appropriate housing and services. And then the pandemic. So the pandemic created these unprecedented challenges for the homeless prevention and response system. The community reacted and created public-private partnerships. So allowing the community to create and expand these housing-focused options for people experiencing homelessness. Hundreds of apartments are now available that didn't previously exist, many of which are serving individuals who were formerly experiencing homelessness. So Anchored Home 2023-2028 incorporates all of that community feedback, and it builds on our prior plan so that we can take all of that work to the next level. Under these core strategic directions, our community will work collaboratively across the systems and organizations. So focusing on housing, supportive housing for complex needs, supportive services, data, coordination, equity, and funding. And comparing these and creating benchmarks related to the HUD system performance measures. So these measures help our community to set those baselines and goals. HUD designates how communities are scored as funding is available based on these system performance measures. So through this plan, organizations will better identify, engage, collaborate with, and rehouse people experiencing unsheltered homelessness, including through a housing first approach. These are straight out of HUD. Reducing the average length of homelessness. So that will decline through an improved coordinated entry system, which is our community's by name list with individual needs. A current list provides a framework to be able to coordinate those resources. Having support from state, tribal, and local partnerships will help keep people from homelessness when they exit public systems, such as the child welfare system, prisons, and mental health institutions. Increasing access to affordable housing, healthcare, and person-centered supportive services will help more people stay housed. And our continuum of care will grow capacity to use data to measure and track system performance. So the first strategic direction in Anchored Home, housing, supportive housing, and supportive services. Through this strategic direction, we'll expand engagement, resources, and incentives for the creation of new, safe, affordable, and accessible housing. We'll increase the supply and impact of permanent supportive housing for individuals and families with complex needs, and increase the use of evidence-based programs or evidence-based service delivery across all program types. And then you can see a box with metrics. These are the specific metrics that will tie back to that strategic direction. And in the whole Anchored Home plan, you can see very specific actions and the specific measurable goals measurable goals and the baselines that will have these metrics applied to them. So a lot of these metrics you'll see cross across different strategic directions because there are goals that will cross some of these different service areas. So the number of people experiencing homelessness going down, the length of time someone experiences homelessness being reduced. Percentage of people exiting to a permanent housing destination will increase. And the percentage of people experiencing homelessness that move to a HUD or other subsidized housing program will increase. The second strategic direction is data and coordination. So strengthening the capacity of state and local governments, tribes, native serving organizations, and nonprofits to be able to collect, report, and use data. And improving the information sharing with the public and private organizations and at the federal, state, and local level. Promoting equity. So promoting equity and seeking ways to expand partnerships to include people with lived experience, ensuring meaningful participation and compensation for their time and expertise. Increasing funding and coordination. So increasing the access to housing and homelessness funding and coordinating and leveraging funding opportunities with existing federal, state, local, and philanthropic funding. So last, I just want to thank everyone, including the people in this group, who contributed to the creation of Anchored Home. We are so excited and honored to present a renewed path forward to address homelessness in Anchorage. We are excited and grateful to work with cross-sector partners and most importantly, the community to be able to make homelessness rare, brief, and one-time. I do see some notes in the chat. Oh, that was about notices. So I did not go through the details of any of those action steps, baseline, or goal data pieces. So I'm happy to go into more detail if anyone has questions about any specific strategic direction area, or also happy to just answer questions in general.
Alrighty then. This is a really important document for all of us because this is leading us for, well, we're responsible for making sure that this happens and holding ACEH responsible and accountable to assist us in making sure that we follow the anchored home guidelines and goals, the strategic goals, etc. So it's a real partnership in order to achieve anchored home. So this, I do ask that you read this. It's the most recent one was put in the chat. So if you could download that and take a peek, that would be fantastic. That's probably something we'll touch on the retreat, but we'll make sure that that's part of all the homework that you receive in preparation for the retreat. Does anybody have questions for Jessica? It looks like Roger has his hand up.
Yes, I just want to comment on this journey that we've been on for 5 years past and the 5 years moving forward. You know, how we were able to lay out the Anchored Home Plan in 2018, not knowing what this day would bring, but we did some really good work back then. And we found ourselves at a spot right now where we can regroup and move forward. I am seeing lots of action items in here and lots of room where I think the HPRS is going to be able to supplement and support the coalition and this plan specifically. And so I just want to express my appreciation to Jessica and to the coalition for all the hard work they've done in getting this out in you know, this time when everything else in life is challenging us, and not the least of which is politics. So thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Does anybody else have questions for Jessica as far as the brief presentation that she provided to us in Anchored Home?
I do see in the chat, I saw that Julia had a question. Do we have a plan to conduct an evaluation of our CE system? Yes. So I'm going to scroll through here really quick and get to that section. But yes, there is under the data and coordination strategic direction, there is a plan to look at that information, look at who is using coordinated entry, how are they using coordinated entry, and the data completeness, the data accuracy, and the equity around the referrals. And that hopefully leads us to larger conversations about the effectiveness of the coordinated entry system. So it's not specific in there that in this 5-year plan we do that, but by having goals and action steps around the effectiveness of coordinated entry, I think that inherently leads itself to that evaluation. And this is definitely not stopping any work from happening outside of this particular plan. I know that the Coordinated Entry Committee has had a lot of discussion about that specific topic, and that evaluation can happen alongside the work and the activities that are happening in coordinated or in Anchored Home as well. I see Grace's question, timeline to provide comments if we have them. There's not necessarily a timeline for that. If it's comments that we want to incorporate into this plan, I think we want to make those quick. Because most of the comment period was last year when this was out for public comment, and we were doing those activities and surveys. And one thing, it's not in my presentation, but I'm really excited about was that we had a lot of community feedback on this, and we were able to incorporate every single suggestion into this. There was nothing that we looked through and said, we can't do that. That is too lofty of a goal. So I was really excited to be able to say that, because I was not sure we could say that when we started this process. But and I am really excited that they all made it in there.
Do we have any other questions for Jessica? I'm not seeing things very well in the chat, so. Is there anything else that people wanted to comment on? All right, well, thank you, Jessica. It looks like we're good to go there, and we look forward to more discussion on the full document in the future.
Great. Susie, I will share that this is a document that is a requirement of HUD when we, well, not a requirement, but when we do our collaborative application, if we do not have a community strategic plan, that is not good for our application. So this would be an action item for the advisory council to accept or adopt. And it, like I said, it doesn't mean that this isn't a living document and that we can't think about the goals and have activities that are happening there as well. But just to let you know that this should be an action item to have acceptance on.
Do we have to do that today, since pretty much no one has had a chance to read the document?
Nope, just wanted to let you know that it was, it is an action item that we'll need to have a vote on it.
Okay, perfect. That's good for everybody to know. So we'll make sure that everybody gets anchored home prior to our next meeting, which I believe is going to be prior to the retreat. So we'll make sure that you have that information in a timely manner. And it looks like next on our agenda is the opportunity for member or public comment. Do we have anybody who is interested in making comment? I am not seeing anything. All right. Well, then, Mitch, it looks like we're going to go to good news and community events as our next item on the agenda. So does anybody have any good news or events coming up that they want to share with folks? I do have some good news. Many of you have helped me do some advocacy for domestic violence and sexual assault agencies for the state of Alaska. One of our primary funding sources for shelters and SART programs throughout the state, called the Council on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, was underfunded. We lost about $4 million that would have just left us flat funded. With us not achieving the $4 million, Awake and other agencies were looking at about approximately a 20% cut in our funding. And CDVSA dollars are what funds our emergency shelter. So we would have been looking at some pretty traumatic changes in our shelter. After doing quite a bit of advocacy with the House members of the Finance Committee and the subcommittees, the House Finance Committee did put back in $3.7 million. And I want to say thank you to everybody who advocated for us and sent in letters of support. Our next step is going to be advocating with the Senate and making sure that that same amount stays in, or that we can get even more money. So thanks to all of you. That's my good news. Did anybody else have anything to say? Exciting.
Julia shared something in the chat about Point Source Youth's National Symposium, and their registration is open, and they shared a link.
All right.
Thanks, Grace. I was actually going to come off of mute to say, I think that one of our ACEH staff people has been invited to speak at that symposium. I don't know for sure if that's happening or not, but that's pretty exciting to again have people speaking on the national stage. And I know Chris spoke at the Rural Symposium a number of years ago. And I also wanted to amplify that the Youth Alaska Action Board on Housing and Homelessness was present in Juneau last week for the Alaska Just Transition and did a number of lobbying days there in Juneau, and they're doing some really exciting work. I'll put a link to them over in the chat.
Thanks, Julia.
Susie, this is Jessica. Yes, Ziana Brownlow, who is one of our coordinated entry specialists here at ACH, was invited to present at that symposium, and she will be attending and presenting. We're really excited about that here. And really excited about that opportunity, not just for her, but for our community to be able to have that platform and have that ability to share the work that we're doing here. And then for the coalition, I just wanted to share what I thought was great news and a cause for a celebration, that our Next Step Housing pilot, which is a rapid rehousing program running out of the emergency cold weather shelter at the Alex Hotel, using the Houston model of matching people with housing and case management services, and then housing people in essentially independent scattered site housing, reached the halfway point, and we are now at 80 people out of that original goal of 150 until the end of the emergency cold weather shelter period. So really excited about that, to be able to have created some of that flow. And a huge kudos to the Henning team at the Alex performing that housing navigation service, as well as our case management partners, which are Henning and Graceful Touch Transitional Services. Everyone is doing a really great job pulling together and helping to put those services with the housing, with the people.
Fantastic. That's really exciting. Any other good news? Celebrations, excitement happening? No? Doesn't look like it. So up next is advocacy opportunities. We have quite a few advocacy opportunities coming up, and I have to read it on my screen here. So we have our assembly work session happening on the AO 2024-26, amending the section blah, blah, blah. It's about a camp abatement procedure. So you probably really do want to get involved in that one if that's a passion for you, and working on the camp abatement piece. And we also have our regular assembly meeting and the Assembly's Committee on Housing and Homelessness, and another regular meeting. And then our next HPRS council meeting is going to be on Thursday, the 25th. So then the next day is our retreat. So we're going to have some business around the Anchored Home project at our next meeting on the 25th. And then we'll be doing some other fun, exciting things together at our retreat. Any other comments for the good of the order? All right, it looks like everybody's going to get 10 minutes back to their day. Maybe you can go home early, listen to that podcast or that book, listen to loud music in your car, breathe. But you've got your 10 minutes back, and I hope that you all have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, Mitch. Bye, Emily.
Thank you, everybody.